do something a little different, and it's more on the preparation of it. So instead of steaming it, instead of boiling it, which I find sort of dilutes the flavor of vegetables. Also, nutritionally speaking, when you boil vegetables, a lot of the nutritional content starts to get leached into the water, and that's lost. So we're going to do a very, very simple saute, and I'm going to show you a little trick. So I've got my broccoli here. I've got my pan at about a medium to medium high. So I want it a little bit higher here. We're going to add a little bit of grapeseed oil or just a regular olive oil, not the good olive oil, otherwise that'll burn a little bit quicker or faster. Some of the cheaper olive oils have a higher smoking point, so they can take a little bit more heat. Your good, expensive, that's kind of like a general rule of thumb. Your expensive olive oils, don't cook with. Use it more of as a dressing or to finish a dish because they have a lower smoking point. And does everyone understand that? Yeah, okay, so you don't want oil to burn. That's a bad thing. Carcinogens and also the taste, it's awful. You're gonna ruin a dish. So, okay, so medium heat, we're gonna add our broccoli in there. You want your pan to talk to you. Cooking is using all your senses. So if I throw a piece in and I don't hear anything yet, wait a little bit. I want a little bit of a sizzle. And we're using the entire broccoli here. So we're using the head, and I'm cutting them into like medium-sized sort of pieces. But the stalk is full of flavor too. So the very end I wouldn't use because it's kind of gnarly. It's not that, it's kind of tough. But the top bits, sort of slice them into like 1/4-inch rounds, like this. And those are fantastic. Really, really sweet, really nice and tender. That can go into the pan. And that's it. I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper to the top. And instead of a lid, this is a neat little trick that you can do with vegetables so that we're not like, once you put a lid on top, if you put any liquid inside, you're kind of boiling it and steaming it to the point where it might get a little mushy. So this is a way where we can keep it nice and crispy, but also sort of steam it so it cooks through. Take some parchment paper and run it under some water and just squeeze most of it out. So now it's malleable. You can kind of crumple it up and then unravel it. A little bit of water is actually okay on there, and put it right on top. And this is great, especially if you lose all of your lids. Or those big pans you don't have lids for. And just sort of like gently fit it in all around. So some of the moisture is still gonna be able to escape to the side, which is good. But it's also creating this sort of cocoon of flavor, and it's gonna steam everything inside so it cooks throughout. Okay, and so for a quick dressing, Casey's gonna make a really nice, refreshing dressing for us.
So it's a really neat way to make salad dressing. I'm just gonna do it in a mason jar. That way there's no bowls, there's nothing to clean. And all we're gonna do is shake it up. So I'm just going to use the juice and zest of an orange. You can use however much you like if you like orange flavor. We're going for the orange flavor today, so I'm gonna use a fair amount of the zest in the juice, but like half an orange is good too.
And you can use, I guess, limes, you
Lime,
can use lemons.
lemon, yeah.
Anything that's bright and fresh. Something like an orange is a little lower in acidity than like a lemon would be, right? So you can use a little bit more. You can add a little bit more and then sort of taste it to see where it lies for you.
So I'm just gonna put it all into the jar, like so. So we're really using just a lot of really fresh ingredients, low oil, not adding a lot of fat to this, just keeping it really simple and fresh. And then we're gonna add some ginger and some almonds for some crunch.
So we have some mint here. I love mint. Mint for me, that screams spring. And I mean, you can definitely use any sort of fresh herbs, but this is something that'll really pop. you know, we're going to start to slowly move away from the heartier, you know, the rosemaries and the sages, which are fantastic as well. But for a dressing, you want something that's really nice raw and you won't choke on it. You don't want to put a piece of rosemary in your body. It doesn't work the best. So we have, this is about like, I'd say about a quarter cup, half a cup fresh herbs.
Okay, so we're just gonna put some of those fresh herbs in there.
Mint is going to go in, and I'll move this out of the way.
Some almonds just right into the jar. I'm keeping some just to garnish the salad at the very end. And I'm also just going to take the same microplane and just grate the ginger right into the jar.
Anyone have one of those microplanes?
Yep. Yeah.
Or rasp. A rasp is another name for them. These things are fantastic. They're one of my favorite tools in the kitchen. You can find them at most kitchen surplus stores. They even have them at the dollar store now, which is awesome. And it's great for, see Casey is flying through that piece of ginger, which is great for dressing. You don't get those fibery bits in your teeth, which are awesome. Garlic, it'll mince up. You can do hard spices, zest, Parmesan cheese, like really, really multi-purpose tool.
It makes it a little bit finer and mushy. If you just chop ginger, you might be biting into pieces of ginger, and that's not really pleasant. So I just added a little bit of honey, and just because orange isn't really that acidic, I'm gonna balance the sweetness with a little bit of rice vinegar.
And you can use any sort of vinegar.
You could even use
like cider vinegar.
You could use lemon juice too if you wanted to.
Juice, yeah.
And that's it.
And then olive oil?
Oh, olive oil as well, sorry. It's just about a tablespoon and a half.
So typically when you're making a dressing, Chris is not here, so a little heavier, no. Typically when you're making a dressing, it's usually about a 2-to-1 ratio of oil to acid. Because we want to make something a little bit fresher, a little bit brighter, we're going closer to a 1-to-1, even actually a little heavier on the acidity, especially because the orange juice isn't really overpowering, right?
Then we're just gonna shake it up. This is a lot faster than whisking. Emulsifies really easily, and this, you don't have to use all of this. You can actually just stick this in the fridge, use as much as you want for however long it lasts.
And does anyone know what the word emulsify? So emulsify is when we're forcing the oils and the vinegars together to create a really sort of creamy consistency, a really nice creamy dressing. When you sort of separate vinegar and oil, you ever find that when you're mixing dressing, it'll just, you'll have pockets of vinegar, pockets of oil. You want to give it a nice whisk or a nice shake beforehand.
Yep, so that's it.
Okay, so we're done, ready to go. Our grain of choice, or seed really, is quinoa. Again, you can use, any sort of, you can use kasha, buckwheat, which is buckwheat. You can use millet, whatever you want. Quinoa is a great one, very fast to cook, complete protein. So this is great as a vegetarian dish. And it takes about 12-15 minutes to prepare. So it's 2-to-1 in terms of liquid to grain. Put them into a pot, bring it up to a boil, lid on top, reduce the heat to low, and let it simmer for 12-15 minutes just until it absorbs all the water. It's a nice grain to cook that way because it usually tells you, you look through when the water's done, take it off, and it's finished. So we have our quinoa here. I'm just gonna add a little bit of red onion. So like red onion, in case if you don't mind, we'll add the dressing.
All of it.
Yeah. You can add as much as you like. This is quite a bit of quinoa.
Quinoa is really absorbent, so even if you make this and you dress it beforehand, it might actually taste better once it's been sitting in the fridge for a few days or a day or two, because it will absorb all the flavor.
Absolutely, and that's pretty much it. This is a really, really nice fresh sort of salad. So we'll put our quinoa down on the bottom. And we're taking the time, a little bit extra time just to make it look nice. We got our quinoa there.
There's a fair bit of protein in quinoa, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a superfood for a lack of a better term.
So it's a complete source. Yeah, it's a great sort of alternative to, like, if you wanted to add beans to a salad to get a little bit of protein, you can do quinoa instead. Absolutely. And our broccoli is done. So by the time we finish our dressing, broccoli's done, and this is what I'm looking for. So it's cooked most of the way through, not all the way through, but we have a little bit of char on the outside. We've got some really nice flavor. We're tasting the broccoli. I haven't diluted it at all, and that's it. We'll top it all right in the middle. And this is sort of a nice, fresh salad. If you want to add some goat cheese, just a little bit. On the outside. And then some more of the toasted almonds. And the toasted almonds are really nice because it gives it a little bit of texture and some nice balance to that sort of fresh, vibrant dressing on the quinoa. That's it. So that's our broccoli quinoa salad.